Hello, my name is Emily Dixon, and today I am interviewing for the Primate Rescue Center short-term internship, and that would include on-site housing, and that would be for this summer, June through August. I have the interview questions here, and I will begin answering those. So question one is start with telling us a bit about yourself. So as I mentioned before, my name is Emily Dixon. I am currently 20 years old, turning 21 this year, and I'm originally from Scioto County, Ohio, which is very close to the Ohio River, so I actually do have a lot of family who lives in Kentucky right now. I am currently in my sophomore or second year at The Ohio State University's main campus, and here I am an anthropological sciences major with a minor in forensic anthropology. I really enjoy painting animals, reading. I love being outside and hammocking or bird watching. I love identifying new bird species and counting them. I really love hanging out with new people, and I really love volunteering and gaining new experiences. It's awesome to see how many things are out there that you can learn about. And I really hope to one day be able to research primates, hopefully in the field. So question 2 is, what do you do for a living, or what extracurricular activities are you involved in at school? So as for my job, I currently am working on campus in a dining hall and cafe. They're kind of connected. I just got my student lead promotion, which basically means that I've been promoted to know how to do everything within both facilities. And my daily activities there usually involve watching the floor, so I'll have a little in-ear piece and radio, and I'll be watching over the floor, making sure everything's stocked, all the students are good, the tables are clean, drinks are filled, things like that. I'm also currently involved in the Environment and Natural Resources Scholars Program here at OSU. I've been in that for 2 years now, and I am currently a family leader. So basically what that means is, since there's so many students, there's around 100-ish students, we're split into 4 different families, and each of those families has a family leader, which will organize small meetings or events for your family. So I am one of those. I'm also very actively involved in our ornithology club here on campus, where I've been able to do a ton of lights out research, which basically means that we will go around campus and find and take data on any birds who have hit windows, either dead or alive, and we'll either take them to an animal hospital or to a museum. And also through this club, I've been able to do bird banding, which means that we will catch wild birds in nets, take them, collect data on them, put a little band on them, and then weigh and release them. Probably my favorite thing I'm currently involved in at school is within our primate lab. Here I've been working with Dr. Guatelli Steinberg and Dr. Scott McGraw a little bit. Here I've had the opportunity to photograph monkey mandibles, specifically mainly Sudi mangabe mandibles. I've also been able to, organize all of the primate skeletons from Dr. Scott McGraw's field site in Africa. And we've also been currently looking at the dentition of rhesus macaque premolars and what sorts of hypoplasias we can see in those. So we'll put them under a microscope and graph the shape of the tooth and see what we can see about them. So those are the things I'm currently actively involved in. I've done a lot of other volunteer experiences, like volunteering with a master's students or volunteering at our move-in program at school in August. Question 3 is, why do you want to work with primates? So I definitely have a ton of interest in studying and learning about non-human primates. As I think I mentioned before, my main career goal in life is to actually be able to do primate research and hopefully publish my own paper one day. I also just really love the work sanctuaries and zoos do to promote primate conservation, so I would also love to maybe work out or help out there. And there I would also be able to just observe primate behavior in my free time and maybe write a paper on that, because I know some people at a sanctuary I'm currently working at are doing things like that. And I think a main thing that pushes my interest in researching primates above all is I think conservation is so important, especially due to how much primates can teach us not only about evolution and ecology, but also about us as Homo sapiens. And the more general research and information that's out on non-human primates and their health and behaviors, the more accurate and useful work we can do towards their conservation. Question 4, have you worked with wild animals before? Have you worked with, interned, or volunteered at a zoo or sanctuary before? So, as I mentioned a little bit with my time in the ornithology club, I have done lights out research where I've been able to handle live window-stricken birds as well as a ton of deceased birds, and at the bird banding situation, I would weigh and release these wild birds. I've also been able to volunteer and help out a master's student here with his mud puppy research. Mud puppies are basically these giant salamanders that live in Ohio, and here I've been able to collect and handle a ton of mud puppies and gather data on them, such as weighing or measuring the length of them. Although not wild, I did volunteer for a couple years at a local animal shelter in Portsmouth, Ohio, where I was able to care for cats and dogs, like obviously feeding and cleaning, doing all of that, working with the visitors, walking dogs, and there was this one day where they had a neuter day and I got to help wake up all of the cats and kind of sit with them and make sure they were okay. That was pretty awesome. And I am also currently volunteering once a week at the Ape Sanctuary, which is the American Primate Educational Center in Blacklick, Ohio, and there I'm working with Pamela White. She actually mentioned that she knows the people at the Primate Rescue Center. I think she said she knows the director, so she told me to mention my work with her. Here I've been able to work a lot with her white-handed gibbons. She has 8 of them. I've been able to clean and meal prep mostly. It's been awesome to learn all their names, and I've been able to record like their daily behaviors, if anything's unusual, if maybe they'll need a medication or anything. But yeah, that's been so awesome. I'm still working there. I've been there for about 2 months now. Question 5. Why do you want to intern at the Primate Rescue Center specifically as opposed to other animal facilities? So, I've done a lot of research into different primate sanctuaries and maybe field schools that I could apply to. This is actually my first one I'm actually applying to. And, this sanctuary is home to a lot of my favorite species that I would love to be able to work with and just observe. The siamang, the common chimp, I love those species so much. Although, obviously, it's not just for the species alone. I really love how much information that you guys have on your website. It makes it so clear that you love and care for each and every single animal that lives at your sanctuary. Like, just from reading the internship page alone, you can tell that there's so much care and thought put into everything you guys do and that you really only want the best for the primates. So many of the rules and internship goals just show that so clearly, and I love that. So yeah, I would love to intern here. So question 7. Who are your human heroes in the animal community? Who do you not admire in the animal community? Obviously, I love the primates. I love Jane Goodall. Jane Goodall has brought so much awareness to primate conservation and research that did not exist in nearly as great of a proportion before. She's so awesome, of course. And then actually a lot of my animal heroes are people I know in real life, like my friends. I have so many friends at OSU who work with animals or work in conservation. I know a guy named Rex Hill. He's awesome. He's worked with so many animals. I think he's writing a paper on glass lizard right now, which is a super cool species, so that's awesome. And actually one of my future roommates, I just signed a lease for her, so we're moving in together in August. She actually is the research coordinator for the Lights Out program where we work with the birds. And she changed all the protocol to be able to allow for such better research practices. And I think that's so cool, she cares so much about it. Who do you not admire in the animal community? So I can't think of any other specific names, but obviously I really like herps as well. I've mentioned a lot of herps like salamanders, snakes, lizards. And I know there's a lot of YouTubers in the herp community who will make videos promoting unethical breeding practices, like morphs of specific reptiles to sell because they look cool, but they actually have neurological issues, such as the spider morph ball python. That's one of them. So yeah, I don't think that's very cool, but Question 8. What is your opinion about the use of animals in entertainment, such as movies or commercials? So I think that the use of animals in entertainment has been proven to cause a lot of misinformation and bad care practices to be normalized, and also just kind of instills fear into the public. Like, for example, King Kong. That makes people think that gorillas are these big, scary animals that are gonna attack you and just be really scary. And, like, the movie Nope, even though it was kind of the opposite of what I think the movie was supposed to show, a lot of people came out of that movie kind of traumatized by the chimpanzee scene. They had a common chimpanzee named Gordy, I think it was, and he basically sorry, got a little phone call. He attacked a lot of people on a set and killed people, and a lot of people came out of that movie and were like, oh my gosh, that scene was so scary. Chimpanzees are such a scary animal. And then, you know, there will be like a lot of common misinformation out. Like, they'll have a movie set in Africa and they'll have capuchins playing in it, and so then people are like, oh, this monkey is such a cool monkey, this capuchin is from Africa, when they are not from Africa, they are from South America. So just misinformation. And then there's obviously mistreatment of these animals. Like, these animals are not getting their needs and they're just being trained to be like an asset to these movies, which I think kind of goes a little bit along with the question, what is your opinion about owning exotic animals? I definitely feel as though if a non-human primate has the capability to survive in the wild, it should not be kept as like a personal pet or as an actor on a movie that is kept in a small area with the bare minimum to survive. I don't think that's cool. What is your opinion about animal encounter experiences or photo opportunities? So I think that these opportunities can definitely make the public more enthusiastic about the species that they are interacting with, but I think there's also a very fine line on how ethical it can be. For example, at the Scioto County Fair last year, I saw this couple and they had two capuchins that they were using to take money from people. Like, they were trained to take $1 from someone and then shake their hand. And it was very clear that these capuchins were not very happy with their situation. They were both dressed up in these full outfits and hats. They had little top hats on. And the female, she was the one interacting with the people mostly. And the owner would be like, oh, don't grab her, don't touch her, she will get very scared and she will run away. She's been known to run away because she's very scared. So clearly she probably didn't really want to be interacting with people and she was probably very stressed out. And then the male, he wasn't really allowed to interact with people because he was just very visibly like very lethargic. I think he was older. So it was clear that these capuchins were not very happy in their situation. So yeah, it really depends. What is your opinion about biomedical research on animals? So that's a super interesting question, and that's actually something we're looking at in my primate lab a little bit. We were originally looking at the differences between wild rhesus macaque teeth and rhesus macaque teeth from ones that are taken from the wild to be put into captivity into a research lab. And we actually found evidence. If you look at their teeth, you can find evidence of major stressors throughout their life. And we found out that the ones that were being put into these research labs from the wild actually did show around the time that they were put into captivity that they did experience a major stressor that actually affected their teeth. So that was super interesting. So clearly, a lot of these research facilities can cause a lot of stressful experiences for non-human primates. What is your opinion about observational research on animals? I think it's great as long as the researcher is knowledgeable, has ethical practices, and is being very respectful towards the animal, like keeping their distance or not putting the animals into a stressful situation. Question 9. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? So in 5 years, I see myself working on a postgraduate degree, either a master's or a PhD. I really hope to be doing research still and hopefully still working with primates and hopefully growing my career further. Question 10. What is the most boring job or task you've ever done? So not like a major thing comes to mind. I would say probably the most boring task where I work at now. Sometimes they'll put me like serving food to students, and there's this one station that they really like to put me at for a while called Grains and Greens, where no students really wanted the food from there, so I'd just be standing there alone for 5 hours waiting for people to come to me. It wasn't too bad though. You know, I could kind of like zone out and daydream. Yeah, that's probably something that comes to mind. Question 11. Do you prefer working alone or as a member of a team? So I could definitely enjoy both, but I would probably say that I prefer working as a team. You know, it's really awesome to be able to communicate with others and gain new ideas and different perspectives from people. So you get to like come up with ideas that you wouldn't have been able to come up just by yourself. But I think that's cool. And I'd also just say it's probably more fun in general working with other people. However, I definitely can enjoy the control and peace that I have from working alone. In my primates lab, I work alone. I'll go in there, get on the microscope and put in headphones and listen to music. And that's enjoyable as well. Okay, question 12, next page. As a part of a team, would you consider yourself a leader or do you prefer a more supportive role? So I've seen myself as both a leader and a supporting role in different situations. A lot of times I do like to take a leadership role if I feel confident. This is why I applied for and got the family leader role in my environment and natural resources scholars group. And that's why I got the promotion to be a student lead at my job. When I was in high school, in the marching band, I was the section leader for, I want to say 5 years for the flutes. I don't really push myself into being a leader unless I feel that I can be a valuable leader to others and really help people out. I feel like I can contribute something to the people that I am leading. Question 13. Do you learn best by watching, listening, or doing? So I definitely learn best by doing something. You know, I can watch a video or watch someone else do it and get the main gist of what I should do. But when I actually am able to do it myself, you know, I kind of get that muscle memory. So it's a lot easier for me to do it next time without having to ask someone or get a refresher on it. I've definitely learned that a lot at my current job, you know, having to learn so many tasks, learn how to do so many different things so quickly in order to get my promotion. Definitely learned that I need to do it myself to learn it. Question 14. What do you like to do in your spare time? Any hobbies? I think I enjoy... I think I've mentioned this a little bit before, but I do enjoy painting and reading. I usually will paint or sketch an animal, which is actually partly how I got so interested in primates and their anatomy. One time I wanted to draw a random animal, I picked a bonobo and I was like, whoa, these are so freaking cool. Like, I want to know more about these. And then I took a primates class and it was awesome. I like to read. I follow probably about like 200 like biologists on Twitter and they're always constantly posting papers either from themselves or other people. And it's like you learn something new every day. It's just even from reading the title. It's like you can learn something that you never would have imagined. And then another favorite hobby of mine is probably just hanging out with others. It definitely gives me a lot of fulfillment in life to spend quality time with family and friends. Meeting new people, jump-starting my career, you know. Just making connections with people is such an awesome thing that I love to do. Question 15. What makes you happy? Other than my hobbies I just listed, I would say that something that can always make me really happy is when I achieve a goal that I've set for myself. It can be something little, like, you know, getting an assignment done a couple hours early. It always like really eases my stress and makes me a little bit proud of myself when I can achieve a goal I've set for myself. What makes you angry? So my friends all know me as someone who really gets genuinely angry. I would say something that probably upsets me is when someone is disloyal on their word or someone who acts up just to make people upset. That would probably be something that kind of upsets me. Question 16. Please briefly tell us about any pets you have now or have had in the past. So most of my pets I've had throughout my life have been cats. About a year ago, we actually did rehome both of my cats I had due to my sister and mother experiencing pretty bad allergic reactions. They're currently living with my uncle. They love him. It's really cute. I also have 2 white tree frogs. I've had them for about 5 years now. Their names are Clancy and George, and I had a really awesome time learning about them and setting up their bioactive tank. They have springtails and isopods and like pothos plants. It's really cool. Question 17. Have you or anyone in your family ever owned or desired to own a pet primate? So personally myself, I've definitely never owned or desired to own a pet primate. I know how difficult they are to care for and how much they require to thrive, and I don't think that I could provide a happy life for primates. I do have an older family member. Her name's Debbie, and my grandma told me about how she wanted to get a pet monkey. And I told my grandma, you should probably tell her that they take so much work and she's probably not ready to have one. And it sounded like she didn't even know what species she wanted, so probably not a good idea for her, but yeah. Question 18, list 5 adjectives that would describe your personality. So I would definitely say that I am open-minded, I'm very trustworthy, I'm very enthusiastic, and I would say I'm probably resilient and confident. So those are probably my 5 that I would use to describe myself, and probably what other people would use to describe me. Question 19. What do you imagine would be your favorite part of a primate rescue center internship? So I would imagine my favorite part would definitely be being able to meet and learn all the primates' names and getting to, know them, know their personalities, and observe them. And it would be so awesome to look at them and know that I am helping contribute to their welfare. That would be such an awesome feeling. And I would also imagine that I would absolutely love meeting the other staff members and getting these new connections and meeting new friends with similar passions as me. I always love meeting someone who has an interest in primates. It's so awesome, and you can share all of your interests and all of your information with each other. My least favorite part, I've learned while volunteering at the ape sanctuary with Pam, that the gibbons, their poop can smell really bad. I'm constantly stepping on it when I'm cleaning. It's not too bad though, they're worth it. Yeah, I usually have to clean my clothes when I get back from doing that. Question 20, do you have any concerns about becoming an intern at the Primate Rescue Center? So I would say my main concern was that I don't have reliable transportation that I can bring to the site, but I did see on the internship website that if you are living on site and you don't have your own transportation, that you can get a ride into town once or twice a week, which really eases most of my worries. My family only lives about 2 hours away, so my mom was like, if there's an emergency or you really need anything, I can come down pretty quickly. So those worries have mostly been eased. Another concern is that my classes do start on August 20th, so I would probably need to be finished up by August 19th. I think that's a week short of the 12-week program, but I would be willing to come in early in May or spend more hours a week to cover for that. But yeah, I would like to hear more about that. I know there is a section on the application where you put in your request start and end time, so I definitely need to talk more about that, probably. Additional video interview questions for interns requiring housing, so that would include me, so I will answer those. Question 1, would you consider yourself a light sleeper? I would say I'm a pretty average sleeper. I do live in a really small room with a roommate whose bed is literally 2 feet from mine. She actually needs to climb onto my bed to get onto hers because hers is really tall. It usually doesn't wake me up or bother me, and neither does her waking up and, rustling around. That usually doesn't wake me up. Alarms will wake me up, and people talking usually wakes me up. People's voices usually wakes me up. But yeah, I'd say pretty average sleeper. Question 2, do you take naps during the day often? So I don't really love to take naps. They make me feel really groggy. Sometimes on a Thursday, Thursdays are my really busy day. I have to wake up at 5:30 and I don't get back to my dorm until 7-ish, 8-ish p.m. So those are my really busy days. If I have time, I'll usually take a nap around then, but I don't really like to if I don't have to. Question 3, what time do you naturally wake up in the morning? This definitely depends on what my schedule's been like, so if it's in the summer and I don't have an alarm set, I'll usually wake up around 9 a.m. because I usually don't have to be anywhere in the mornings. During the school year, if I don't have an alarm set, I'll usually wake up naturally around 7:30 in the morning. Question 4. How do you feel about possibly having a roommate? Totally fine with having a roommate. Being at OSU last year, I did have a random roommate assignment, and that worked out completely fine. We had no idea who each other were, but we got along well, and yeah, I was totally comfortable with that. Question 5. Have you ever had a conflict with a roommate, and how did you resolve the issue? So last year, my roommate and I, we didn't really have any major conflicts. Sometimes we probably mildly annoyed each other by talking on a video call near each other's desks, or sometimes she would bring over people very late at night without telling me, but I mean, we quickly realized that we just need to tell each other what's up, so we would text each other when we're leaving, when we're going back to the dorm, when we're having someone over, things like that. Question 6. How would you handle having a roommate who has a different standard or schedule for household chores? So I would hope that we had talked about it since the beginning. That's usually what I do with roommates. And if the standard is different, I would really hope that we can discuss what our needs are to live comfortably. And I would totally do my best to help my roommate feel comfortable. As long as their requests are reasonable, I really just want everyone around me to feel comfortable. So I really don't have an issue with that. Question 7. How would you feel if your roommate had a different ethnicity, culture, background, or age than you? So I really don't have any issues with this. I don't really have any issues with a roommate having a different ethnicity or background or age. Being at OSU, I've had to work with so many different people with all these differences in mind. I've always felt comfortable with people with different backgrounds and ages. And actually, in one of my group projects right now, I just found out that one of my group members, she's the same age as my mom. And I thought that was crazy because I talked to her like she's my friend, like she's my peer, my own age, and she could be my mom. So that was really interesting to see. The only thing I guess I would see myself being uncomfortable with is if it was like an older male being my roommate. But I don't see that being an issue based on the website saying that the roommate would be the same gender. So I don't see really an issue with that happening. So it looks like those are all the questions. I would love to have the opportunity to intern at the Primate Rescue Center, and I really, really want to thank you for your time and consideration. I know this is a long video, but I hope you can consider me, and I do have the funding available. I'm actually in an OSU program called the Second Year Transformational Educational Experience, which will fund money towards an internship. So yeah, I really hope that you guys consider me, and I would love to work here, and thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Have a good day.